My name is Eugene Hudson, Jr. I come to you today to formally announce my candidacy for National President of the American Federation of Government Employees. I have risen through the ranks of AFGE, having served almost in every position from shop steward, local secretary-treasurer, national representative, National Vice President, and National Secretary-Treasurer of the entire union. I have met one of these opportunities, all of these opportunities head on. I've built confidence and credibility in those positions when I've done so, and I will continue to do so. As your president of AFGE, my platform is to continue doing what I have proposed and implemented starting in California and in District 12, where I began my career. It is simply this: to change the spending habits of our Federation so that everyone is accountable and protected by the rules of our national Constitution as they are set out. To those of you who have experienced the quality of my work ethic along with my dedication and getting the work done right, I invite AFGE members and stand with me as we get closer to our national convention in 2018 to hear more ideas and goals of what the delegates will need to consider at the convention. We must address our members' frustration with their lack of control over how their dues are spent effectively and at times without their permission in advance. Union member applicants who apply for staffing positions at our national office will be given due consideration in accordance with the procedures dictates of our national Constitution. No more carve-outs, no inappropriate discretionary spending that are not submitted to the rank and file for the advance approval. I can't say that enough. I will direct that under my administration of AFGE, congressional and legislative initiatives to seek out those groups that support our legislation, having a direct effect on our membership holding federal office. Their security and longevity in their jobs must be addressed both strategically and stringently. What has come to my attention about those recently retired is that they are not being replaced with existing seasoned staff or by our talented union members, but by outsiders. I am sticking with the tried and true. I believe in loyalty that is earned and extend both up and down the line. My experience has been that in any well-run organization, it does its best when you show respect, you get respect. You should all be committed to building up successful people and their careers here at AFGE. Over the last 5 years, I've witnessed our monies being given or donated to organizations in order to get awards and plaques for our national officers. I will fight for implementation and accountability to make all contributions and purchases transparent to us. We will work with organizations that can and will help our overall mission. Let me take a moment here to ask where you got your start as a member of our union. And the reason I ask is the same reason I care so much about our members and their immediate representatives' interests. It comes down to what for me defines what a union is. It is a brotherhood and a sisterhood, which means we are all together and we support one another's interests. To me, I always had your interests come first. That means that I care for those things that you care about. You make up our membership at the local level, and you're the backbone of our union. And I pledge to you I will be an equal partner in my administration of AFGE going forward with my dealings with you. When I have asked at other meetings such as this, what are your goals and concerns, this point sticks with me. I have been repeatedly told in no uncertain terms, underappreciated members say that they feel that they haven't been offered a union job and they get bypassed over for someone being hired from outside of our union. They are none too happy, nor should they be. In closing, what I am asking for is your vote. Many of you know you can rely on me and know that I can do the job. I'm asking all of the Federation locals to follow me to reinstall financial integrity. I want to say that again, to reinstall financial integrity. I am appealing to all of those who are aware that I will need their vote and support to overcome this challenge. Our Federation is in need of many changes, starting with the enforcement of our Constitution, dictate, and stopping some of our leaders who manipulate it to their own needs. I will fight for all of you who are our union members and our government's greatest assets. Thank you very much.
My name is Damiana Maggio. I'm local president from 1546 Tracy, California. I represent Defense Logistics Agency employees and also AFGE, Army Air Force Exchange Unit. We're predominantly wage grade employees. With that being said, our union members faithfully pay their union dues. As local president, it's my responsibility to ensure that the money that they pay is being spent correctly. When I found out, I've known Mr. Hudson for 18 years, and he's an upstanding gentleman. When I found out that they had removed Mr. Hudson from the NST position, I was outraged. As he just mentioned, he won by acclamation. How many people ever run for office at that level without an opponent? And I mean, that speaks loud and clear that we, as a federation as a whole, wanted Mr. Hudson to be our National Secretary Treasurer. I immediately had an executive board meeting with my members, which I have here today with me. We are all outraged with Mr. Hudson's removal. We want him put back into his position. We do not believe that he was fairly treated for the charge that stood against him. That should have never been a removal. We have never, ever heard of any executive officer being removed from the national office, and we're outraged with it. Mr. Hudson was trying to do the right thing to make sure that the office that he held, he had a fiduciary responsibility to make certain that our union dues were not being misspent. And when he started exposing it and started trying to put a cap on it, because of their greed, they decided that they were going to remove him. So we, local officers, as delegates hold the votes to vote those into office. And, you know, at the last convention, it was exposed. The frivolous spending was exposed. And I have to say shame on those local delegates that turned a blind eye to the information that was put out at the convention and went ahead and casted their votes for J. David Cox. I can clearly say my votes did not go to J. David Cox. I supported his opponent, and because of the frivolous spending. We, at the local level, we're pretty much self-sufficient. We don't really ever ask AFGE National or the district for any kinds of helps or services, but they're constantly wanting to raise our per capita. We faithfully pay our per capita every month. $11,000 plus per month goes straight to AFGE National, and we feel like we get nothing in return. We try to contact AFGE offices at the national level. We get voice recordings, and that's been just a constant. I haven't had that problem with our NST. He's given me his direct cell phone line. If I ever have a question for him, he's always available any time of the day. And I live on the west, he lives on the east, and I've called him when it was pretty late at night and he answered his cell phone. So I have to say he is an upstanding man. I fully support him for a national president of AFGE. We need to end the corruption at the high level. They're all being paid good wages, 6 figures. We pay their wages. That comes out of our dues monies, and we're paying their wages. And on top of it, they want to take the additional per capita money and use it for themselves. That's a no-no. We can't afford to live like that. We don't have 6 figures. We're living paycheck to paycheck. We're on budgets. We can't afford to have box tickets, season box tickets, rides in limos, first class airline tickets. We can't do it. We're living paycheck to paycheck. So why should they be squandering our money and living better than we are when they work for us? We put them in office. We need to take them out.
Hello, I'm Sylvia Norman, President of Local 3172. Northern California, Northern Nevada is our area. We're concerned about the attacks on federal employees as far as our wages, our benefits, and it's appalling, and it's almost turns your stomach when you see this type of thing going on at the national level when they need to be fighting for the benefits of the people that are paying their dues faithfully. Every year, every time we go to the national convention, they say they don't have enough money, we got to raise per capita, we don't have enough money, and then we find out the stupidity of how they spent the dues that we're sending them. One of the candidates brought this up at the last convention. A lot of people didn't want to hear it, but it was absolutely true. When they were spending outrageous money to go to Israel so they can get awards, there's outrageous money to get box seats at ball games, and when this was brought up as frivolous and a waste of our dues, a lot of people turned a deaf ear. Mr. Hudson listened, and when this was brought up, all of a sudden, he's no longer there. It's the media has seen it. I read the article in the Washington Post. I read the other articles regarding it, and even they say this is not the time for this type of ridiculousness at that level. We're asking that this be revisited as far as it's never been the case where a national treasure was removed in the history of AFGE. So why now? Is it because these things have come to light and because he wants to be a person of an integrity? Is it because he stated that I may be running for national president? Either way, it's disgusting. We in our local support Mr. Hudson. He has been a faithful supporter of AFGE throughout this district and for sure with our local over the years. So as we grow and as we move forward and as we ask our employees to sacrifice, and our dues is significant, we're asking that the national level also sacrifice. I shouldn't have to come back to my local and say we have to raise the dues again. More than half of what they pay a month goes to national. And again, it's about $11,000, $12,000 a month, which is a huge chunk of money. And we need to be responsible, just as we are with our own finances in our homes and in our local. We're asking them to be responsible with the finances at the national level. We appreciate Mr. Hudson, and again, we are pursuing what we can do to have his condition reviewed, again, reopened, and reevaluated, and we thank him for his integrity.
My name is Dana Duggins. I am the National Executive Vice President for Council 220. I was that candidate at the last convention. And it's appalling. Unfortunately, a lot of the members don't know how to read the books. They don't know how to read the forms that are filed with DOL to see exactly what is being spent. And I see, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Eugene, it seems like because the delegates voted, reinstated the status quo, it was taken as a license to spend even more. And I see, linen dress shirts with their names embroidered now on it and their title on it. I understand a couple of the new MVPs said, no, thank you. We didn't come here for this, and I give them credit for that. I don't want the ring. I don't want the jewelry. I don't want that. And I think that's stand up. But we should all be standing up and saying enough. This is not we're lucky to get T-shirts for our members and afford the T-shirts for our members. But to see that is a waste. It's an embellishment that's not necessary to do the job that they have. So I totally am appalled with how they handled the situation with Eugene's removal. I like facts. The more I dig, the more I know is not kosher, I think is the right word. I I understand, they've made the file available for some people to see, not delegates of the convention, not local leaders, just for some people who went to a conference, a training conference, and the rest of us have to wait until the next convention. Well, the letter that they based this on was clearly not a Hatch Act violation. It was addressing the concerns that we had as a union, and there was a void after this election. Everybody kept saying, what is AFGE doing? Where are we going to go now? No one knew. Eugene's letter was the first thing they saw because it answered that call for what are we going to do. The fact that we were talking about our concerns about candidates who campaigned on taking federal employees out, taking unions out, it was a very valid concern that needed to be addressed. I read the letter, no Hatch Act violation. I am being told because he had a new staff person email it, that jeopardized the staffer's job. But I dare say there's not one member of the NEC that doesn't direct their staff to do email. So I don't know how this constitutes some kind of error or why they would consider it campaigning when it was simply addressing where do we go from here under this administration. And I admired the fact that he encouraged everybody that although it's going to be a difficult 4 years, we can survive this together, which is so important, such a wonderful message that I think our membership needs to hear over and over and over again, because it's looking pretty bleak. When you pay attention to what they're doing day to day and the deceitfulness and how they want to sneak stuff into their bills, like our continuing resolution to take away our pay and our retirement, when you know that stuff is going on, I think the membership needs to be encouraged to stand tall and stand together, and together we can make a difference in the federal workforce. We've had a member of our a Social Security employee that I am told received this letter, and somebody reported it, and the Office of Special Counsel did take a look at his letter and determined it was not a Hatch Act. So given that, I think if they took the personality of Eugene out of this equation and based it on the facts of what they laid out, the outcome would have been different, completely different. I think this was personal. I think it was political. And because of that, they set a very dangerous precedent for the rest of us. Because if somebody doesn't like what I'm saying, like right now, the next thing you know, I can be removed for some bogus violation of some thing. Then they can use their process to get rid of me, to quiet my voice. And that should not happen in a union. That's not why I joined this federation. That's not why I have given up hours and hours of my own time away from my family to fight for people, to help them make sure that their workplace is a better workplace, to make sure that federal employees' rights are honored and not diminished. So by God, I think our union should be holding up that at the national level as we do at the council level and at the local level. And that's why I support Eugene.
My name is Fernando Lucero. I'm with Local 1546, First Vice President, Chief Steward. What I have an issue with right now is just really transparency and the lack thereof with senior leadership in terms of AFGE National. If you're going to kick off one of the elected members, where's the transparency and explanation instead of the deaf tone? It's hard for me to sell a product to our local members out there if no one else is being transparent at the top. Not to mention I'm a service-connected veteran, and an AFGE veteran's hat just doesn't cut it for me as a veteran. So with everything I've heard about from Mr. Hudson, he has my full support moving forward. Believe me, we're a pretty seasoned local with President Maju and such. Federal workers have a negative stigma that we don't do, we're overpaid, we don't do the job right, but you have countless examples of contractors, and in the back end you end up paying more.
Good afternoon. I'm Blanche Mays from San Joaquin Tracy, and I'm local political coordinator. And I stand with you, Mr. Hudson. And I just feel that it's wrong for those out there, the national people out there that's spending money that's unwarranted. And we're over here struggling to try to get training, the proper training, and they're out there taking trips or doing what have you that's not correct, that's not right. So I can't wait for you to become national president so we can get things going correctly, we can get things going right, we can have the funds that we need in the proper places, and those locals out there that needs training, we can have the proper training. There's just so much that we can sit here today and talk about. One of my pet peeves is the wages. We've had 6 years and it's been 1.2, here or there, and it's not enough. We're going to college, education is high. I have a $40,000 debt that I'm still trying to do. So just want to let you know that I stand by you.